Good day. I am Jarnee, and this is the segment that I like to call Porn Conversations, and it's portraits of relevant nature. I'm here with the beautiful Ashley, and she was actually one of our last contestants on our live audience filming in DC, Pop the Balloon or Find Love.
No disrespect or anything, but you were kind of giving me like feminine energy a little bit. It just sounds a little weak to me. That's why you get a paycheck every 2 weeks and you're not a boss. But I'm pretty sure you probably had premarital sex, so.
Ashley had so many controversial moments. She was one of the most talked about guests on the show throughout the comments and everything. So we're going to kind of get into a little bit of recap and see how things turned out.
I'm Ashley. I am based out of Maryland right now, but I'm originally from DC and I'm bi-coastal, so I'm also in LA.
So Ashley, what nationality are you?
Oh my gosh, you really want to hear?
Yeah, I want to hear.
So I'm South African. I am Egyptian, Syrian, Native American, German, and French, and Scottish. I know that's weird, right?
No,
I just happen to know my family lineage like very well, actually.
So what type of guy are you looking for? If you could describe your ideal guy, personality, aesthetics, complexion, just everything.
Right.
How would you describe him?
I like to say that looks are like the last thing I'm looking for, but if I had to describe my ideal guy, you know, tall, dark, and handsome, spirituality has to be like really grounded, very confident. Like I need a confident man because I'm confident, so I can't, I don't want like competition, I want my equal.
Ashley, you say you like them tall, black, and handsome. So I want to know about it. What do you really like about a tall, handsome black man?
I mean, these are just preferences. However, I just feel like, not to tell all my business, but I'm just not really into Caucasian men, and lighter than me men. One, just, I think about my children and like how I know that sounds bad, but I don't really want them any lighter than me. I want to keep some of my heritage. Well, I think the main thing is that a lot of people confuse me for other races.
Same here.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, when they see the complexion, they start going down their rabbit holes and whatnot.
And then I've tried it. So I had never dated a Caucasian man before, but
Okay.
I actually did. I'm actually divorced, and my husband happened to be white. And I had that experience, and I really truly wasn't happy with it. I just felt like culturally it was
what when you say you weren't happy with it, what was it that you weren't happy with?
There was a lot, but I would say mostly it's a lot of the upbringing. Look, I believe that you should have be brought up to have confidence, but there is a certain I'm trying to think of the word. It's just like it seems like they just like have a certain entitlement.
Okay.
Without really truly earning it.
And when you say they have an entitlement, are you speaking of white men as a like?
I hate to generalize, but yes, especially a white affluent, men.
Okay.
Yes. They do. And so it just doesn't vibe with me, I'm a hard worker and, I sort of came from the bottom, to the top. So anybody that devalues that in me, I'm not interested in.
Would you say you come from a close-knit, loving family?
I would say we're very close. I would say loving most of the time. Yes.
Do you feel like some of your childhood kind of shaped like the way you live your love life and your preferences?
Yes and no. I feel like I'm an evolved person. I feel like I'm a person that's trying to like break generational curses and move past traumas and things like that. But my family is like super diverse. So
good. Same here. I think diversity is key in just getting to see how different cultures operate and live, and especially when it comes from your blood.
Right.
But I tell you, your fit on the live edition for Masquerade was amazing. Even the mask, ladies and gentlemen, was everything, but you had a lot of controversial moments. So let's get into it. All right. So I want to know personally for you, what is the dating scene like in DC?
I mean, personally for me, I just feel like there's a lot of like feminine men right now, a lot of men that think you should chase them. And really that's like unattractive to me because I mean, I don't want to be stalked, because there's that too, so just a even balance and like, some appreciation for women.
So Ashley, I consider you to be a very boisterous, confident woman. And you're very welcome at our live masquerade edition. The first gentleman we brought out, his name is Loveo.
Doing. I'm Loveo, Lovo. My real name is Bernard. I don't look like it. I don't like it, but that is my name.
You mentioned the feminine energy. Are you finding that a lot of men in DC are exuding feminine energy, in your opinion?
Yes. I think there's a difference between an ego and actual confidence and masculinity. And I think that there's a bit of confusion between it. And, a lot of men are trying to use the ego, which, I'm not saying, I think men should, have ego that should come out in your work. Not necessarily in your relationship, not necessarily just like in everyday. You should have the true confidence of a man to be masculine to me.
So do you feel like when you saw Lovo and you made the comment about the feminine energy and whatnot, what made you feel like that?
And I popped my balloon, and no disrespect or anything, but you were kind of giving me like feminine energy a little bit. And I really require a lot of masculine energy, like the queen I am. So, I mean, your outfit, it's okay. I like the belt, but like not trying to cut you down or anything like that. But I felt like you were trying to exert your masculine energy instead of actually being masculine.
At first sight, what was it?
Yeah, so that's I'm sure a lot of people would have just said like his, light voice or his dress, but I mean those were some things that maybe made it worse, but I feel like you could do those things and still be like masculine. What really stuck out to me was he couldn't project his voice.
Okay.
And he kept explaining that he was masculine. So I feel like if you are, you don't need to
You don't have to
say
give
it.
explanation. You just show that you're a manly man. Okay. And when you say projecting his voice, like in the sense of like being loud or in the sense of like you weren't really getting that peak of confidence from him when he was speaking?
That's a good question. You don't have to be loud. I mean, I feel like as a woman, we're taught, to be like poised, but to speak our mind, and you don't have to be like loud and ratchet.
You're the loudest one in the room.
Yeah, because if you're the loudest one in the room, what are you really saying? You're really saying, you don't have that confidence. Yeah. So I think he just needed to balance himself out a little bit, find himself a little bit more, and I think he would have been all right.
Darius was the third gentleman on the live to come out.
So my name is Darius Jones. In my opinion, the dating scene is there's not a lot of intentionality when it comes to dating. So there's a lot of casualness going on.
He was doing so good in the beginning. I mean, the ladies were holding on to the balloons, and then it was rapid fire.
Yes.
But when it got to you, I know you heard some things that kind of like, had you like, and let me comfort Darius a little bit. What made you get a little vocal with him?
I think he came off very judgmental towards the end. Like he started off very strong.
Okay.
And, he sort of, he stuck to his faith, which, I'm a woman of faith, so I completely understand and respect that. It's just when people use that, to sort of like undermine others or, I don't mind a man having preferences. Like you didn't really find out her whole situation. She could be, without.
And that's what makes it a preference. It doesn't have nothing to do with a backstory. It's just a preference.
And this is my preference as well. It's like, I'm just observing that behavior. I'm just like, that's not for me. Everyone has their preferences, but like, I just feel that, I don't want to be judged for it. Like he didn't even ask a follow-up question. He just popped the balloons. And I know that it's sort of a speed dating, but that was an easy enough question to ask. Like, like our it was an easy enough question to ask, why some of these women are, single and have children, so I felt like that could have been a good follow-up question.
Okay. Now, you mentioned the premarital sex.
It's the fact that you have a problem with her having a baby, but I'm pretty sure you probably had premarital sex. So what's the difference? It could happen to anybody. I'm just saying.
Absolutely. Share your thoughts and let her know what you're thinking.
Right. So we all got preferences, right? So as a man, I would have to take on that burden in general. Whether it's full-time or part-time, it's a possibility. And if I had that to choose between a woman that didn't have kids,
That's a little selfish. I mean, even in the Bible, there's been men that have taken over widowed, women with children. So that doesn't sound like a king to me.
right? My father's a stepfather, so
Right.
I've seen what he's gone through from being a stepfather, and that's why I wouldn't want to be a stepfather
Right.
if I had the choice.
I understand. It just sounds a little weak to me.
What made you go in for that question?
Because so often men want to judge women for having children, but they don't mind having premarital sex, with no protection. So he could have very easily, been somebody's baby daddy,
This is true, especially a
yeah.
man of a certain age and whatnot.
Right. And then women are expected to, take on, the children of men, and again, you're talking about the percentage of
the
you know,
10%.
the 10%,
whatnot,
yeah.
yes.
And most of them would have children because
You're right.
yeah. So it's like if I have to accept that, I feel like, you should at least be open to it, So that's just my thoughts.
No, and I felt like I know the audience was kind of like, like they had so many. Some of the comments I could hear that they were making, and some I couldn't hear, but I could just hear like the grunts and the moans
Yeah.
coming. When you would give your comments and
Yeah.
whatnot. I think one thing people, clearly have to understand is even though we got the lights going and the cameras going, it is a dating show. And I ask that the cast give their natural responses. We're not here to totally degrade anyone, of
Right.
course, but you gave your honest opinion on what you thought about the guys, and they came for you, tried to rip you to pieces, but
Yeah.
you're just being honest at the end of the day. And that's why we're here, like recapping to kind of get in your mind a little bit more and see how you think about the dating scene. Now, you mentioned that a guy doesn't have to look a certain way, but it's, how he carries himself, his confidence, and of course the six figures, of course. But our next gentleman that came out, in the purple fit, Abu.
My name is Abu, 28 years old. I'm a teacher and a business owner.
I don't think you were really feeling Abu like that. I know you were trying to kind of give him a chance with his personality and everything, but you didn't mean to chop him down, but you went on him about his looks a little bit. So
Yes.
what was it with Abu?
He was my least favorite out of the group.
Really?
Yeah.
What made him the least favorite?
And
though?
it's sad because when it came out, I was really giving him a chance. I felt really bad that he had all his balloons pop because, I don't think that looks should be the forefront of what.
Yeah, you gotta get in here
Yeah.
and see, what a person is
Yeah,
really
give
like.
people a chance to see what they're really like. Exactly. But when he was given the chance to do the same, instead of finding out more about any of these ladies, he just popped their balloons. And I felt like every woman up there, was beautiful. And,
Yes.
they may have been different types of beautiful, maybe not your type of beautiful, but to not even ask, any questions first, to just go over there and pop their balloon when I don't feel like he was in that. He's not in that 10% range or 14% range that we were speaking of earlier.
I popped my balloon because I feel like you was talking about her looks, but I'm not trying to be rude or anything. You're not really a looker either. I feel like you should focus more on people's personality. That's why I popped my balloon right away. I'm not trying to be rude, but I always check people first. I like to see, what you're working with, what's your personality before I judge somebody. And I felt like you just straight out judged her, and you're not really the type of man that has that type of cool.
There's a lot of people, I don't know if it's social media or what, but it's good to value yourself.
Yes.
And I understand that, like, everybody wants the most attractive person. Who doesn't? But like, let's be honest with ourselves and really see, like, are we being the most attractive person inside and out? Like,
So you felt like he was being a little bit out of his league, would you say, based on how he was carrying himself with the ladies?
I would say so, yes, because I mean, and he could be there, I mean, even just it doesn't, like I said, have to do with looks. Like he could be there from the way he dresses, from the way he carries himself, He didn't give me that really gentleman-like, response. He just, did the default that all men seem to do around here, just looks. And then they think they want more, but yeah, it's just, I'm kind of tired of that.
Now, he mentioned, that you wouldn't be necessarily the girlfriend type for him, and that he'd be interested in running game on you.
If you saw Ashley out, is she someone, based on her appearance and energy, that you would be interested in?
Not really, but definitely somebody probably a little bit flirtatious with, probably run game a little bit.
But no, wait a minute now. So you said run game.
How did you feel when Abu made that comment?
Well, let's just say when I took my mask off, he didn't feel that same way. But anyway.
No, wait a minute. Now, was it something that Abu said, or was he kind of giving you the eye a little bit from across the room?
I'm going to be honest, they all were.
Okay.
A few of them did try to talk to me after the show, but I won't get into that just out of respect. But yeah, I think... Here's the thing. So, a lot of men do this too. They'll judge, someone with a particular body shape or, a particular look and, not really listen to, what a woman's saying. And I thought that was like a little bit premature because like we're on a show, we're dressed in like, evening attire. So, it's going to be tight and fitted, but I don't necessarily walk around like that all the time. So, and second of all, like he couldn't have got me anyways. Like he wouldn't have had the confidence to even step up to me. Let's just be real about that.
But you don't think, even if the lights and the cameras weren't there, if he saw you out, you really don't think that he would have had it in him to approach you?
He would have had one too many drinks and been slurring his words. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like you, Ashley. So our very last gentleman that came out, he was in a black and white fit for the Masquerade edition, and his name is Alan.
Good afternoon. So my name is Alan. The dating scene in DC is lost for words.
So Alan mentioned that, he likes to be outdoors and whatnot, and he enjoys traveling. But some balloons started popping when he mentioned the word budget.
If the chance came up to do it with no hesitation, but without worrying about a budget, I would just travel.
You popped while we were down there. So what made you change your mind?
Because he was talking about traveling and he spoke about having a budget.
What was it with the word budget that, got the balloons popping for you?
Well, one, I mean, not to judge, but he looked a little on the older side. So I feel like, when you've gotten to a certain age, like you shouldn't be talking about a budget. You figure it out. Like, yeah, especially if it's something that you really want. So he just didn't really show that much that he desired is basically what I saw.
So a lack of desire in the budget that got Alan popped. Now, if you didn't hear any of that and he exuded, even higher confidence based just on some of the other things that you heard, would you have doubled back for Alan at that point?
No, because everything from the way he dressed to the way he spoke just gave me that 9 to 5, like very stuck in a rut kind of.
But it takes you said stuck in a rut. Girl, I can't.
I'm
No,
sorry.
you give me your opinion on what you thought. So you said, feeling like, stuck in a rut in the 9 to 5 world. And well, you really don't like that 9 to 5.
It's just not the lay for me. I really feel like everyone should be free. Yeah. Like, I honestly, I don't feel like people should be slaving away for others. And I feel like you can collaborate. And, I use that word because, in a sense, you do work with other people. Yeah. But, I don't think anyone should be a slave. When I want to do something, there is no budget because you should be able to manifest and, and bring your dreams and your goals, to, fruition.
I manifest a paycheck every 2 weeks, so.
Well, that's why you get a paycheck every 2 weeks and you're not a boss.
That's a no for me.
Alan mentioned that he manifests a paycheck every 2 weeks. And Ashley, has clearly expressed how she feels about a man that has a 9 to 5. Now, you came through like a on him.
I mean,
what made you go in?
if you're manifesting a 9 to 5, that's exactly what you're going to get, a paycheck every 2 weeks. Like, I just feel like, a part of the confidence thing comes with like really getting to know yourself, what you really, really like and what you really, really enjoy. I feel like a lot of people are just in autopilot.
I agree.
And I really don't think it's just that like I'm a creative, because there was a time where I had like a creative block actually, and
all creatives go through that.
Yes.
People don't understand that. It happens, but you got
Yes.
to quickly snap out of it.
Yeah, and you have to go within yourself. And I think that, more than just like a 9 to 5, like I just say that because a lot of those people just don't happen to really know themselves very well.
And a lot of it comes from fear too,
It's
because
fear.
especially with a certain generation, a certain generation is more so taught, to go to school, go to
Yes.
college, get your degree, get a 9 to 5, and you retire.
Mhm.
But those that are especially like ourselves that are more in the creative scheme,
Mhm.
we like to be more hands-on and out and about. And when you mentioned it, for me, I think it was more so like the context of
Mhm.
how it was mentioned, although I clearly knew what you meant by it. You just, and like you mentioned here in a recap, you just don't want to be restricted by a budget, and you want a man that has a higher self-belief and whatnot. And no feminine energy.
And no feminine energy.
Now, Ashley, I know you saw all the clips from our very first live in DC that was filmed back in August. Again, on that episode, we stood very close together. I mean, it was such a vibe that night. And we had several matches come out of it, and Ashley was one of them. Now, did you guys ever go on a date, or did have any phone conversations? How did things turn out after that?
Actually not so great.
Really?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, I just expressed that I was going out after, and he just, I guess, happened to, make himself present there. It wasn't really what I would call a date.
Okay, wait a minute. So when you say going out after, like you mentioned you were going somewhere and he popped up, or he just inserted himself like, I'm going to go with you? Like how did that come about?
He did call and he said, oh yeah, I think I'd meet you there, and I was like, okay, cool. So, actually, yeah, we decided to meet each other there, and, he was nice. He bought me a drink. I'm not really a drinker. So.
Okay.
But, I was vibing, I was cooling, but like he kind of got upset about other men liking me, and I was like, I don't even know you.
Okay, but hold on. So you said he bought you a drink and he got a little upset.
Yeah.
Like other men. So were you communicating with other men? Were other men coming up to you? Like what was the scene like for him to get upset about you communicating with men?
So I don't really go up to men. So men were, kind of communicating.
They were approaching you.
Yeah. And he was upset because there was a gentleman who, he was actually really nice. He asked, because he saw that we were talking. He said, hey, can I speak to her? I'm not trying to be rude.
So he's respectable.
He was respectable about it. And Jay didn't do anything. So, he started talking to me, was trying to get my number. I declined, but still, I guess the fact that I was giving him conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So that kind of went like that. So what happened after? I mean, did you guys just literally like part ways? Did he order you another drink? Was the conversation pick up? Did y'all like what happened?
No, so funny story. So then I went to order some food. There's a food truck outside. Yeah. And then like some gentleman just paid for my food. I didn't ask him to. He just did. He was just an older gentleman. He was just being nice. I didn't ask.
Mm-hmm.
So then he decides that he's going to walk off.
You manifested that.
Right, exactly. There you go. Yeah, absolutely. But no, I think he just ended up walking off, and I thought that was extremely rude to leave a woman, alone to walk to her car, even though we didn't go there together. I feel like if you had any chance of dating me at all, that was
done.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he literally just kind of like was over you and left.
Yeah.
That was it.
Mm-hmm.
So has he reached out by text, phone, or anything since then? Or were you guys like, you know what? It's clear that this is done.
It was done. It was done. It wasn't for me. Yeah. I just, nope. No.
So although the date, wasn't a success with Jay, I'm gonna check in with him because I would love to know what he thought about it. But overall, what was your experience like, considering that we've done 2 lives together, and of course, the Masquerade edition in DC being the most recent one? What was your experience like?
Okay, first of all, wasn't a date. No, I'm just kidding. Second of all, my experience, I thought it was really fun. It was very interesting. It gave me some different perspectives, some different things to think about. I don't think I'm lowering my standards at all, which I realize that it's really going to be hard for me, but I'm comfortable with that because I'm comfortable with myself and being alone. But the overall experience, I got to know people, so that was cool. Yeah.
That's always a good thing. And even though, of course, the show is designed to, quickly, have some sort of spark and connection that you guys can then build on afterwards and whatnot. Sometimes we have matches and sometimes we don't.
Right.
And that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah.
But in your free time and even in your business world, what are some of the things that you like to do, and what do you do for money?
Yeah, so I'm one of those very blessed people who I do what I like for money. So I found that out really early on in life. I started out doing hair. I have my own shop. It's in Gaithersburg, Maryland. If y'all want to check me out, it's called Hair Journeys by Ashley.
Yes.
Been in the business for 20 years. And I just recently got my yoga teacher instruction certification. So I've been doing that over the past year. And I do private lessons and private group lessons, family lessons, more the one-on-one kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. The hair game is an interesting business. You keep long hours and whatnot.
Yes.
I used to do hair myself. But that world has since passed. But ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure sitting talking to Ashley. She has such an amazing spirit and energy. And you got to understand. And I see a lot of the comments, when they're like, you come off as being aggressive. They've called you delusional, devil in a blue dress. I mean, it's been so many different things. And I'm just like, I do know that, we're here to give our opinions and our views and whatnot. And sometimes things get misconstrued.
Right.
But I'm more than grateful that you came on the show to kind of open up a little bit more and let the people know who you are and what you do.
Yes, thank you. It's been a pleasure also. And you are just so gorgeous and such a woman to look up to.
Thank you. I so appreciate it. I really do.
Don't judge a book by its cover, guys.
Thank you guys for tuning in to Porn Conversations, and that is Portraits of Relevant Nature. If you guys are interested in being a contestant on one of our future episodes of Pop the Balloon or Find Love with Jarnee, please be sure to find all details in our description below.